It is 1:30 Universal Time. I'm Jim Tedder in Washington. A top UN official says the United Nations hopes to send up to 3,500 peacekeepers to Lebanon within 2 weeks. Earlier, United Nations Secretary-General Kofi Annan said deployment of a full UN peacekeeping force in southern Lebanon could take weeks or months. Mr. Annan spoke on Israeli television Tuesday. The deployment is part of the ceasefire agreement between Israel and Hezbollah guerrillas. Israel says its soldiers killed a top Hezbollah commander just before the ceasefire began Monday morning. Lebanese officials say their soldiers and international peacekeepers will begin deploying in southern Lebanon within days. The Israeli army has been withdrawing from Lebanon. Thousands of displaced Lebanese families are slowly returning to their homes. Palestinian reports say an Israeli airstrike has killed 2 people and destroyed a house in southern Gaza. The Israeli army says the target of the attack was a weapons storage center. The army also says that it warned everyone inside to leave before the attack. Separately, the Israeli army says it shot 2 Palestinian gunmen trying to enter Israel from Gaza. It could not confirm if the Palestinians had been killed. In other news, the Palestinian Prime Minister met with the head of news operations for the Fox television company in Jerusalem to discuss the kidnapping of 2 Fox News workers in Gaza. Reporters Without Borders has called for the release of the 2 men. One reporter is an American. The other is from New Zealand. Palestinian officials said officials were searching for the 2 men. Iraqi officials say a bomb attack in the northern city of Mosul has killed 9 people. Police say a vehicle carrying a bomb exploded near the offices of the Kurdish political party called the Patriotic Union of Kurdistan. In the city of Karbala, at least 6 people were killed in clashes between Iraqi forces and supporters of an anti-American Shiite religious leader. British police have arrested another suspect in the plot to destroy passenger airplanes flying to the United States. Police arrested the suspect Tuesday in southeastern Britain. 24 suspects are now being held in Britain. At least 7 others are being held in Pakistan. Under British law, police have until the end of Wednesday to charge the suspects, free them, or ask a judge to continue jailing them. A published report says Britain is considering a system to identify terrorist suspects at airports. A report in the London Times newspaper said ethnicity and religion would also be considered in the proposed system. Several top Muslims in the London police force have warned against such a system. You are listening to the news in VOA Special English. The top Mexican security official has rejected claims of police violence after riot police fought with demonstrators protesting the disputed presidential election. Mexican Public Security Minister Eduardo Medina Mora defended Mexican police who fired tear gas at protesters outside Congress. Several protesters, including at least 2 lawmakers, were injured. This was the first violent incident since the start of demonstrations to support presidential candidate Andrés Manuel López Obrador. The Federal Election Tribunal ordered a recount of ballots from 9% of the voting stations. The recount has been completed, but the results have not been announced. Mr. López Obrador is demanding that all the votes from the presidential election be counted again. A new report says the number of immigrants living in America has increased by about 16% over the last 5 years. Most of the increase is because of recent arrivals from Mexico. The United States Census Bureau report estimated that there are more than 280 million people living in the United States. The report shows that people born in other countries made up nearly 12.5% of the American population last year. In 2000, the rate was a little more than 11%. Experts at the 16th International AIDS Conference, being held in Toronto, Canada, are calling for faster research on ways to prevent the spread of the disease. The joint leader of the conference criticized the international community for not providing every population with all available ways to fight the disease. A report presented at the conference says 12 million of Africa's 48 million orphans have lost one or both parents to AIDS. The president of Nigeria says his country will no longer accept kidnappings in the south of the country. President Olusegun Obasanjo ordered the military to answer kidnappings with force. He also threatened restrictions against companies that make payments to kidnappers. Kidnappings have become common in the oil-rich Niger Delta area, where militants are demanding that local communities receive a larger share of oil profits. At least 14 oil workers have been kidnapped in the past 10 days. 9 of those workers have been released unharmed. Sri Lankan officials say government troops and Tamil rebels fought a fierce battle Tuesday in the northern Jaffna area. Officials say Sri Lankan soldiers and ethnic Tamil rebels exchanged artillery and mortar fire overnight. The fighting took place near the line that separates government and rebel-held territory. Aid workers say some 100,000 Sri Lankans have been forced from their homes during the past month of heavy fighting. Also in Sri Lanka, officials ordered schools in the capital, Colombo, to close Tuesday. The order came after a Tamil group threatened to attack civilians in the south of the country. Schools will remain closed until late August. Briefly, here again is the major news of the hour. A top UN official says the United Nations hopes to send up to 3,500 peacekeepers to Lebanon within 2 weeks. Palestinian reports say an Israeli airstrike has killed 2 people and destroyed a house in southern Gaza. And Iraqi officials say a bomb attack in the city of Mosul has killed 9 people. And that's the news in VOA Special English. Jim Tedder reporting.